Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Tesla price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. And starting on the daily chart here, we have an impulse toward the upside 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Finish wave 1 or a wave A. After this both case scenario, we are looking of course a ABC correction for a wave 2 or a wave B. Then continuation toward the upside impulsively for a wave C or a wave 3, meaning you have finished an A, B, and a C zigzag, or potentially a 1, 2, and a 3. Now, the possibilities are much higher, of course, for a wave C rather than a wave 3. That because, of course, of the fib level hit with this impulse, which is exactly the 1-to-1 fib level, taken from the beginning of this wave A to the bottom of the wave B, giving us exactly a 1-to-1 fib level, meaning much higher possibility that this is a zigzag 3 waves corrective. And after this, we start to see, of course, a 3 waves corrective as an expanding flat wave A, and then another zigzag for a wave B, hitting, of course, the high and taking, of course, the all-time high, meaning you are looking here at a potential A, B, and a C, of course, as an expanding flat, finishing, of course, inside this blue box between the 1.38, 1.618, $70, $50 for Tesla. You would like to see the wave C moving toward the downside 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to finish this wave C. Now, this is the ultimate bearish scenario, of course, where you are looking for a wave C. Another scenario which is bullish here and that Tesla is looking for higher is that you have finished this expanding flat and turning it into a running flat. And that means a running flat is a 5 waves toward the downside, failing to take the low. And that means, of course, it should start as an expanding flat and turning into a running flat, meaning a reversal for the market and start to look for higher prices. And that means, of course, you have finished over there or bottomed, and then we're looking right now for continuation for a wave C toward the upside in A, B, and a C. And that means, of course, your wave B has finished exactly there. However, the running flat is a very rare case scenario that it might happen, especially on the daily. But of course, it is a possibility, and we should keep it in mind in case we move for higher. Now, the final scenario, which is a midterm here scenario or sideways, is of course starting a running triangle where you have an A, B, C, potentially D, and a E. In this case scenario, your wave E has finished toward the downside, and that means the reversal is gonna continue for higher soon or later, of course, after this sideways. And final sideways scenario as well can be a W, X, and a Y, where you have finished here an impulse or a 3 ways. It doesn't matter. It is a finished structure, and you're looking for another structure here that it might finish, of course, as a zigzag, and finishing, of course, a W, X, and a Y. In this case scenario, you're gonna finish at the same time an A, B, C, and potentially you're looking for higher for wave D, and then E, which is in confluence, what I would like to say here, with the triangle. Meaning after this, we might move toward the upside in high possibility. Now, let's move inside this area to see what's going on, of course, on the 1-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, we are looking at a potential impulse toward the downside. Now, it can be written as 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And it can be even something else like an A, B, and a C, and potentially finished wave A here exactly. And then you're looking for a leading diagonal right now towards the upside. If we dive deeper also inside this leading diagonal, we can see a formation, of course, of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Let's mark this. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Our wave 4 is already still looking for a target between the 0.38, 0.5, which is a perfect target for a wave 4. Normally the 0.23 is also a uncommon target, and in very rare case scenarios, and of course that it might move towards the upside after it, but of course the perfection would be for those fibs here for a wave 4. Meaning, in this case, I'm still looking, of course, for lower since we have 3 ways down, 3 ways up, taking the high, meaning expanding a flat here, or simply, of course, a regular flat still can be, since we did not really took the high, I think. It is a regular flat, so it can be, of course, finished even as an ending diagonal soon and then moving toward the upside. Remember, it can start to move towards the upside from anywhere from here because anyway, you have 0.23 already passed. So the blue box is only perfection here. And of course, it can move for higher for a wave 5 to finish, of course, here a leading diagonal, which it might play, of course, as a wave 1. And then, of course, you would like to see a wave 2 toward the downside, and then continuation for higher sooner or later. Another scenario, if this turns into a corrective, you know that we talked about it, that it might be a wave A, B, and a C toward the downside, which we saw, of course, on the daily as a WX and a Y in confluence with a triangle sideways scenario for the daily. Yep, so basically I'm still looking for a little bit lower right now for Tesla and then starting toward the upside, one more wave to finish a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, unless this is gonna be broken and turning, of course, into something bearish, and then of course therefore we have to call a wave B. That was it for Tesla. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.